What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. As you can tell, because it looks like crap, just got back from the gym training the legs. Today marks the first day of this competition prep, first day of my diet. Going to be doing this for about 16 weeks now, so it's going to be very long. My approach to it is probably going to be quite slow, to be honest, because you don't want to drop calories too quick, considering my body fat percentage isn't that high. So I want to do it quite gradual, quite slow. Probably will only start using cardio after like 1 or 2 weeks of just lowering my calories, because I don't want to lower my calories too much, but I don't want to do any unnecessary cardio. So yeah, woke up this morning at about 160, I think. I don't really trust the scales that I have in the bathroom, because we've got 2 sets of scales and they both say different readings, and if you move it slightly in the bathroom it'll go up by like 5 pounds, so I don't really know what scale to follow. I'm either going to get a new one or I'll just use the ones that we got at the moment, keep it in the exact same place and just base it off of those numbers, even if it's not completely 100% accurate. As long as I'm doing that consistently, I'll be able to see if I'm dropping weight or not. This is kind of a weird introduction to this video, I just realised, because it's kind of jumping right into attacking you guys with all this information. Want to address 2 things. One, what's going to change with regards to my diet and my training, and the answer to that is pretty much nothing, other than the volume and the portions of what I'm eating. Counting macros and that is still going to be how I track my food. It just means that I'm not going to be able to eat as much. So let's say I tend to eat a lot of chicken and pasta, or like chicken and rice, something like that. My protein's going to be the exact same macros as before, but my carbs at the moment are already like 50 grams lower, so that's where I've taken my first chunk of calories from, as well as a little bit of my fat. So yeah, so you guys get an idea of what I mean by volume. If I was to have, say, 200 grams of rice with 200 grams of chicken, being on lower calories, I'd probably have like 150 grams of rice and then like 200 grams of chicken still. Obviously it depends on the meal that I'm having and whatever foods I'm having, but that's the kind of thing I'm getting at. Anyway, yeah, that's the starting point for this cut, about 160 pounds, 162, somewhere around there, I think. I did just weigh myself again and I was 159. But I did sweat a lot in the gym, as you can see. And also the second thing that I want to address about this cut is that I'm actually going to be starting a new series. This episode is probably actually called the series I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it the Physique Project, just because it's kind of been an idea that's been running around in my head for a little while. Wanting to make a series of this cut. I didn't want to just make it summer cutting or my competition prep. I wanted to actually name it something quite creative. So the Physique Project, I think, is what I'm going to go with. Don't know if that's going to stick or not, but we'll see how it does. Still going to be about a video, 2 videos a week. Things have been quite like hectic and early mornings at work this past week. That's why I didn't upload on the weekend when I should have, so I apologise for that. But the Physique Project is the name of the series, and I'm going to show you guys my approach to this cut. Hopefully you guys will cut with me. Maybe you want to get ready for a holiday or whatever it is that you're prepping for. Gonna take you guys along for the ride, and I hope you enjoy these videos. So I'll catch you guys a little bit later on. Right guys, so competition prep has officially started. I'm actually almost 2 weeks into it. I think I'm 2 weeks into it tomorrow on Sunday. So actually got a countdown timer on my phone. I had one for the end of my bulk. This isn't really focusing, is it? Yeah, so you can notice there that it says competition prep starts, and it says 14 days have gone by. So 2 weeks have officially gone by, but that's actually 13 days because I actually pushed it back 1 day just because I wasn't in the right mindset to start it on the actual day that I wanted to do it. So yeah, I've officially been doing it for about 2 weeks. So far it's going pretty well. My calories haven't dropped too much. I've currently dropped about 3 pounds, I want to say. I'm about 157 pounds morning weight as a fairly consistent number. So I'm actually going to show you my full kind of write out plan of what I want to do for this prep and this diet. So I pretty much have explained it, and it's not too different to the way I've said it before, just taking it slow, doing it gradual. But as you can tell by the thumbnail, I have made a board. But I've actually written it quite small, so I'm just going to put the actual board on the screen as I speak, so you guys can actually read it. You don't have to try and read my tiny little ant writing. So I'm currently in the first stages of week 1 to week 2, so that's actually going to finish soon, where I'm doing 100 to 200 calorie deficit, so just a small deficit, just creating that through diet. So I started off at 2850 calories on the first week of my diet, and this past week I've been doing 2750 calories, so that's quite high considering, but now that I'm working kind of full time, I'm doing fairly long days, some days like 9-hour days, or like on average about 7 or 8-hour days, and I've got quite a physical job. My calories can be that high. If you're the kind of person that has a desk job, or you just don't work that many days, or you just don't have that active of a lifestyle, I guess, maybe you don't go out that often, or you don't need to, you might work from home, depends on the individual. You'd decide on your calories based on that, so you'd probably have lower calories. But that's mine personally. This is why working out your own macros and your own calories for your individual person is the best thing to do. You can't copy someone else's because you won't get the same results. So the next stage will be weeks 3 to 4, which is when I'm going to start doing cardio. There's loads of different variations of cardio that you can do. You can do high intensity interval training where you go really fast and then you take like 30 seconds of walking, and you can burn, and you keep doing that for usually about 10-15 minutes, and you can burn the same number of calories as you would if you were to do a slow, consistent pace for about 3 times as long as the time. It really just depends on what it is that you would prefer to do for your cardio. But when I do start doing it, I'm going to start doing 100 calories, so this will probably be next week, and I'll do low intensity steady state, so that's going to be probably walking on an incline on a treadmill, or I'll just do quite a slow speed on the Stairmaster, because they're the two machines I like doing the most. I feel like you can just put your headphones on, listen to some music, maybe look at a video on Netflix or YouTube or something whilst you're doing it, and the time just flies by. But I think if you're going to try and do it without having any kind of entertainment to keep your mind busy while you're doing it, it does get very tedious and very boring. So if you're going to do cardio at any point, whatever your reason for that be, whether it's weight loss or not, I'd say make sure that you've got headphones for some music or something like that. So I will still be eating 2750 calories next week when I start doing my cardio, and probably for maybe even the remainder of this cut, or I won't change my food that much in terms of calories, but I will still be getting into a greater deficit as I go on through this prep. So this will be from the cardio, so I might be eating 2750 calories, but I'm actually technically burning more than I was when my calories were still the same, because I'm using that extra energy expenditure on the cardio. So that's how you're going into a further deficit, but you're not having to affect your food at all. If you are doing cardio, especially if you're doing a lot of cardio, maybe when it gets to like the week 9, week 10 of my prep, if I'm doing like 400 calories worth of cardio, actually this is why you want to keep your calories high for another reason, because you want to be able to keep your body fed, so that you can do that cardio and have enough energy, because you're obviously burning more. That's going to make you more hungry. You're going to probably feel more crap because you're doing more energy than you normally would, because you're trying to change your body, you're trying to manipulate your body to drop weight. So keeping your food as high as possible is the best way to go, in my opinion. Now in terms of rest days, whether you be on the week 1 to the week 2, or it could be cardio, on your rest days when you completely don't go to the gym, you'd typically be burning less calories on those days, especially if it's a weekend and maybe you don't work on the weekends and you're obviously not doing all the moving about that you usually do. Calories are going to be a lot lower in terms of what you need, so this will happen quite a lot, and this is why you need to pick a very sustainable calorie deficit. You want to create a number that isn't too high on the days where you are quite busy and you are moving about a lot and you are working out and you are doing cardio, but you don't want it to be too low either on the days when you're not doing anything. So you might find that on your rest days you're pretty much eating your maintenance level, if you're still eating the same number of calories, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to still lose weight. The exact same as if you were to only do maybe 2 or 3 cardio sessions per week, rather than doing it after every single training session. The deficit wouldn't be as consistent as the same number, but you'd still be in a deficit enough throughout the week for the average at the end of the week of weight loss and weight difference for you to be losing weight. It'd just really be at a slower pace. So after you've started incorporating cardio, or me particularly, you just really want to keep up that cardio regimen and that food regimen, trying to keep it as gradual as possible when you're just upping it when you need to, possibly lowering your calories when you need to, upping the cardio when you need to, and just seeing how you go from there. And really that's how it's going to be until I get to the last couple of weeks of my prep, at which point I'm going to have to go into what's called a peak week, where you manipulate your water intake, your carbs, I think even your sodium, a lot of minor things compared to when you're bulking, or even the earlier days of when you're cutting, that actually make a lot of difference when it comes to the lower body fat stages, when you really want to go from looking, I guess, shredded to like shredded to the bone. But I've never done this, so I can't give much advice on this, but I'm going to show you guys me going through it, hopefully, and what I found worked for me, what I found wasn't as great, and just any tips like I would with any other kind of training or diet that I show you guys on here. So now, I said at the start of this video, and I probably mentioned it a lot of times, you guys are tired of me hearing it, saying that not much is going to change now that I'm on prep and now that I'm dieting. But there's also a couple of other things that you might want to change if you're in a dieting phase to really give you the best results and approach it in the best way and just keep as much muscle as possible, most importantly. So as well as keeping your food volume high, not drinking any of your calories, which I would also preach when you're bulking, unless your calories are that high, and you actually need to. I actually have a smoothie in the morning, which is just because I can't really eat anything in the morning, but I need food, I need some kind of calories. But if you've just started bulking and you can't quite hit your calories because you just physically can't eat it, then drinking your calories in the form of a shake or a smoothie, that's okay. But if you're in a diet because you're eating a lot less, it would be better to save those calories for food, and more specifically food volume, so eating more of the less calorie dense food. So eating, for instance, couscous compared to like pasta, because a bowl of pasta 70 calories, but a bowl of couscous or something similar like that would be, I don't know, 30. So big difference. Still fills you up the exact same amount, but you can eat a lot more of it, and trust me, you're going to be hungry if you're dieting, especially for a long time. Also want to keep your body fueled. Again, with bulking, I'd say that this is important, but when you're in a dieting phase, this is even more important, because when you're in a fasted stage on a diet, your body almost wants to get rid of your muscle because you're under eating, and the muscle is the first thing that it wants to get rid of, because that's why you need so much more calories. So really it wants to hold as much fat as it can and burn the muscle away. That's why you need to make sure that you're working out, you need to make sure that you're eating enough food, and also, which will bring me to my next point, having BCAAs throughout your workout and throughout fasted states. These things aren't crucial, and if you don't drink BCAAs at all during a diet, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose your muscle or anything like that, but they're just little things that make a big difference in the long run, and you'll probably feel a lot better. So I just mentioned that you want to make sure that you're still working out to keep your muscle, and that's why it's so important when you're dieting, but you also want to make sure that when you are working out, you are reaching failure and you are pushing yourself, lifting heavy, trying to keep your heavy lifting numbers up so that you can keep your muscle, not lose your strength, which is usually a very common thing that happens during a dieting phase, and you can't really make it not happen. Like, I expect that I'm probably going to get weaker with things like bench press, and it's going to bug me a lot. But as long as you're pushing yourself as much as you can and trying your hardest to hold on to that strength, you shouldn't lose too much, especially if you're not crash dieting and you're taking things slow, keeping your calories as high as you can. But the reason for this is because you're burning more than you're eating, and therefore you're not eating as much as you would when you're bulking, so you haven't got as much energy to push. Recovery is a lot slower because you don't have those extra calories to recover your muscles, which is why BCAAs are so good. So you can expect some kind of strength loss during your diet, but there are ways to tackle it, like these things that I just mentioned here. But just understand that it's something normal, and as soon as you go back into your bulk, you'll probably see that strength rise back up again, and it won't be as bad as you thought it was. Final point I want to make is that when it comes to tracking your progress in terms of weight loss, weighing yourself every single morning, or as often as you can in the morning before you've eaten anything, before you've drunk anything, maybe even after you've gone to the toilet. You might have had a big meal the night before. But yeah, that's going to be the best way for you to monitor your weight loss. And as I said earlier, it's all about the averages at the end of the week. So if you're doing, and if it fits your macros kind of diet like I am, then you might find that you managed to fit half a pizza in one day, but the other days during the week you had a lot of cleaner food and a lot lower sodium content foods, but you might notice that your weight has spiked up due to the water retention because of the pizza. That doesn't mean that you've gained too much weight because you've eaten that one meal. As long as your macros are still in place, you're fine. It's just all about keeping up to date with that weekly average each week. So yeah, that's my plan. Hope that helped you guys a little bit. Hope that gave you a bit of an insight to how I'm approaching everything. And yeah, just can't wait to keep this prep going. So far it's going quite well. Noticing kind of visual changes, but only gradual. I'm sure that at one point I'll notice a big change and it'll all gradually work its way up. But yeah, ready to keep things going, ready to start cardio next week, and yeah, I'll keep you guys up to date on everything.